is going on, everybody? It's Memorial Day weekend here in southern Wisconsin. We've come down to the Triple B to plant corn. You can see my wife bought me a brand new corn planter for Father's Day, so we're going to see how that works out. I've been using ATV, Summit ATV equipment for years, and let somebody use my planter and ended up breaking it. And they don't make parts for that anymore. It's about 15, 18 years old. And I have an idea to fix it, but we only had time to fix one side of it, need to get some parts. And my wife noticed I was a little frustrated about it, and so she went and bought me a new corn planter for my ATV for my Father's Day present. So that's awesome. Anyway, what we're going to do here is I'm going to plant corn today. Probably going to try and get it all in. I got 3 bags of corn with me, which I think will be more than enough to cover what we're covering here, but we'll see. We'll show you guys kind of how we're breaking it up, show you some aerials and some things about how we're breaking up the food plots and dividing things to add basically edging to the property, east-west. And what that'll hopefully do is promote the deer to move east-west at different levels and let us move in north-south to the tree stands and be able to hunt them. Even some of them on the food plots. So that's a pretty big deal. Hopefully that'll all work out. The plan is, like I said, to add 3/4 of a mile of edging and make it easier for us to get in and out. Also, that edging is actually going to shroud the deer from being able to see from their bedding areas down into the food plots. So where the wood line would be, if they were just inside the wood line the last 2 years, they could see all the way down into the bottom plots, whether there's deer in there or not. So the bucks would hold up in there till later, and it was hard to hunt them on that tree line or on that edge and on that movement. So what we're doing is basically shrouding their ability to view the food plots, so they're physically going to have to move up and down that on the hillside at different levels, like we've laid out the Triple B for the last couple of years, and that'll hopefully give us more opportunity to shoot deer. So that being said, I got a couple different types of seed. They're all Roundup Ready stuff. You know, it's deer food, so I don't try to spend the least amount of money as possible on it, to be honest with you. And my neighbor also plants the bottom 2 acres in corn, and he'll leave me 15 to 20 rows down the middle of that again this year, plus all the food that we'll have. I've also added brassica this year, quite a bit more brassica plots this year. There's actually going to be another 2 acres of brassica plots. I've eliminated one of my clover fields. So the clover actually right here where I parked the truck, the initial plot really close where I shot shocker last year, was all clover for the last 2 years. So it would have been year 3, which would have been fine. I expanded the food plot, cut a bunch of the buckthorn and stuff out, and I've decided I'm going to spray that off. We're going to put brassica in there, so we'll do our no-till brassica program there. So we'll put buckwheat in here in the middle of June, and then here at the beginning of August we'll broadcast in the brassicas we're going to use. Then we'll crimp over the buckwheat, and then we'll spray it with glyphosate. So that'll be a pretty good deal there, I'm hoping. The one thing that I had happen that was somewhat of a failure is last time I was here spraying, you guys see me spray off here, we got a little bit of rain fairly close to when I had sprayed, and I believe it actually diluted the spray and caused issues, so we didn't get a full complete kill with that spraying. When I go to put the buckwheat in here in 2 weeks, I will spray again with glyphosate. So I'll actually broadcast the seed down, and then I will come right over the top of it and spray all the fields. So all the corn that'll be up, that's the plan. Hopefully the corn will be up a few inches, maybe even a little bit taller, and spray off all of the fields where I'm putting my buckwheat. So that'll actually put a kill right over the top of buckwheat seed. It won't affect the buckwheat seed, and it'll allow the buckwheat to come up really well. Buckwheat will choke out anything that might try and come up through there also. And at that point, we'll be able to do the no-till program that we talked about earlier. So I'm gonna grab my stuff. We're gonna head up. I'll show you guys kind of where we're going. We're gonna actually start at the top, work our way down. I left one bag of corn in here just to see. We got 2 bags with us, so that'll probably take care of it. All right, guys. Well, you guys can see this pine right here. So I brought the field right up close to the pine. I am not putting corn right here. We'll throw some brassicas and stuff in here. But right about where the planter is, where we're going to start putting the corn. Reason for that is, I'm assuming they're going to put a scrape right underneath this. I debated on tying a vine to it, but I don't think we're going to have to. I think they'll use the pine itself. So we will set up a camera over here somewhere, probably right here in the corner. But tree stands back over here about 26 yards, 27 yards. Main bedding is straight up the ridge from here. Probably it starts 20 yards from right here. So I'm assuming that the does are going to bed close. That leaves space for our bucks up behind there. So I do think I set it a little bit deep, so I'm going to lift it up here quick, make a minor adjustment on the planter, because I want to plant probably about an inch, inch and a half. I think I got it right around 2 1/4 right now. So we're gonna drop that down just a little bit, and then we're gonna get to planting. But I'm gonna only put 6 to 8 rows of corn in here. Basically, what I'm doing is shrouding that bedding area for when the leaves are down. Shrouding that bedding area from the deer being able to see who's down in this food plot. So it's gonna make those deer transition out of the wood line down here to where we'll be able to shoot them. North-south entrance into a box blind that'll be right here for my dad, Bob Top, my mom, anybody to get into. Kind of a fairly steep hillside, you guys can kind of see that, but it lays out really nice. Basically for our 4th level this year, we actually added another level with all this transition through here. That, and there's a trail that we keep mowed. It's an old logging road. It's right on the wood line here, and I've watched deer use that trail multiple times. There's really no ability for us to hunt that trail from up above, so we're gonna basically make them transition down. If they want to see who's in the food plot, transition down into this level, and maybe give us an opportunity to shoot them. That's kind of the whole idea. There's always been heavy trails across this area right here where this food plot is. It's usually, you know, goldenrod and ragweed and things like that. This will just actually help emphasize that movement and hopefully give them a little extra food. Alright guys, well we put 6 rows in there. You can see the rows actually end right where the ATV is right now. That'll give us a good shot right here to the scrape, which we're hoping somebody will be able to take a good buck right here. Basically what I was doing is covering, it's L-shaped. It's not that big really, it's about maybe a 1/4 acre here all the way down and then to the left. So that helps promote transition here on level 4. So we're going to get to planting some more, head over to where just the cornfields are now. Wind's picking up, looks like we're going to have rain moving in. There's a chance of showers here. So I'm going to get more of this in the ground, and we'll continue to go as fast as we can here. And hopefully we'll be able to get all our corn in the ground today. Stick around. Alright guys, so you can kind of see the green that's in here. That's that failure I told you about with glyphosate, the rain, the sprinkles. So we got a little bit over a 1/4 acre right here in this plot. You guys can see another plot straight to the east of us. Up above where those flags are up at top, you can see that's switchgrass. So I'll mow that off in July again. Then I'll do a pan and show you guys down below here, but there's another plot, kitty corner, to basically straight north of this corn plot, and that's going to be half brassica, half corn, shrouded with corn. It's actually going to V right down to a tree stand that'll be in a pine in the corner here, and that's basically, I don't want to call it a shooting gallery, but it's kind of what it's going to be. Basically we'll sneak up the ravine, come in from the back side of the stand, coming in from the east. And in any evening hunt, our thermals are going to drop down that valley and head straight down there. All the deer are coming from up on top of the ridge to feed in the plot. If you're going to hunt that plot, it'd probably be pretty easy in, easy out, unless the deer are right on top of you. At that point, I'm also going to run a little bit of corn right in front of where the stand location is. You'll be able to shoot over the top of that into that plot, into the green plot. But if you're getting out of the stand, it'll cover your movement. So that's what that's all about. Hopefully that'll work out. But again, this is level 4, so keeping with that transition up above here. So it'll be corn, corn. We have our small apple orchard, and then we have more corn. In the apple orchard, obviously, the base is clover. Trees are all fenced off, so deer can't get to them. They're young. It's actually our 2nd year with that, but there was a bunch of blossoms that may produce an apple or 2. I don't know. But here in about 5 to 10 years, that'll probably be a pretty good little spot. I'm going to put a tree stand in the pine, which I'll show you guys on the pan shot straight behind here between the apple orchard and this corn plot. You'll actually be able to shoot both sides. Right in front of where that pine is, the stand will face directly north, so you'll be able to shoot to your left into the apple orchard or rotate around and shoot the edges of the corn coming in and out here, because these deer are going to transition this lower edge and the upper edge and transition in between this level and the level below, level 3, where we have bigger plots and a couple new ones there too, which we'll show you here shortly. But so that's how we're laying this out. I'm going to get the planting. I think we got our depth set well, and we should be good now. A nice little planter for the price. It's a made in China thing, but it seems to work pretty good. It's actually got a good chain drive system on it, which I'm pretty impressed. I may end up taking the planters off this frame, putting them on my Summit ATV frame, which is all power driven. Right now I have to do it manually. The power driven one would just be easier to keep the rows straight. A little bit faster is all it would be. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna plant this up quick, and we'll move on to the next plot, show you guys what's going on. A little more playing around, figuring out the new planter. I think we got her dialed in pretty good now, so the next plots should start to be easier. Brian Kleppe showed up, so I went and BS'd with him for a while. But I think we got it planted pretty good in here. This is probably 15-20 rows wide, 80 yards long, 90 yards long. So we're gonna head over to that next plot. We're going to do the same thing there. We'll head down and start to show you guys the shooting gallery. That's what we're going to call that stand, the shooting gallery. We'll see what happens. But hopefully we'll continue. The rest of today will be smooth. There's a couple things on it I didn't tighten down, which was my fault. I assume they came from the factory tight, but they didn't. So the plows of the wedges themselves came loose. I hit a rock on one, so it spun it. Took me a second to figure that deal out. Once I got that, I'll figure it out. We haven't had a problem since. So let's head on to the new spot to the north. Here's the next spot we're gonna do. But it's about a 1/4 acre again. It's probably gonna be 20 to 30 yards, or 30 yards. 20 to 30 rows wide. Goes down about 80 or 90 yards again. Mike's trying to get me to put a stand up in this tree behind me. I don't know if we're going to do that one yet. We got switchgrass straight to the south up the ridge. So here in 2 years that stuff will be 7 to 8 feet tall. And we'll be able to run brassicas in these plots if we want to. Run corn on the bottom edge to help the deer kind of feel safer in there. And at that point maybe we could hunt this particular spot right where the camera is. But for this year I don't think we're going to throw a stand in that particular spot. So anyhow, planter's working out really good. We're going to go around the outside twice, and then we'll start doing our rows east-west. And this is going to be the furthest plots to the east to create that east-west transition again on level 4 that we're talking about. This year's level 4, last year's level 3. So We're actually adding an extra level. That's a 3/4 of a mile of edging that we're putting in for deer movement. So hopefully that'll work out better. Now imagine, you know, if we have the corn and then we have the switchgrass is going to be basically its own level also. So that actually helps break it up even more for east-west movement. And then the deer are going to bed right inside the tree line. I'll show you guys this on the pan shot. But right inside the tree line to the south, heading up the hill, we'll have the does bedded, which leaves space for our bucks on the upper edges to try and get more bucks, mature bucks, to bed on our property instead of the neighbors on the top of the ridge. So hopefully that'll help the carrying capacity of the land, and we'll be a little more productive. Not that things haven't been productive, but just trying to make things better and make things, I don't want to say easier, but more logical for us to get in and out without educating the deer. So we're going to get to doing that, and we'll move on to the next plot from there, the shooting gallery. That plot is done. I think going around the outside edge might not be the smartest thing to do just because the weight transfer changed. I don't know, we're still learning this little piece of equipment, so it's working out pretty well, doing a pretty good job. Metering is a little bit iffy, but I can adjust that. I think we'll be able to figure that out, but I think we're a little heavy at times, so I'd rather be heavy than weak on this particular deal. So we're gonna head down the shooting gallery next, show you guys kind of how I'm laying that out, and we'll move to our biggest plot then from there. I may put a little corn in the bottom there. It doesn't seem like our switchgrass is germinated down there in that bottom, which somewhat worries me. Up here I haven't really looked that much. I'm just going to let it go do its thing. We'll mow it in July. Alright guys, this is where we're going to put what we call the shooting gallery in here. So you guys can see there's a ladder stand right here in this pine back in this back corner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to the edge where the camera is here. We're actually going to create a wall with corn. Okay, and straight behind the camera, not 20 yards, is where level 2 corner, our big monster plot, I don't know what we're going to call that yet, is. And that'll be all corn all the way up to this corner. So what it's actually doing is we're going to take this corner and create an angle that kind of comes out this direction, and then to the tree line also there'll be corn, so it'll V away from that straight tree stand. Tree stand will be right here in the bottom. Basically shooting gallery if anything rolls in there. What we're going to do is we're going to end up putting brassicas in that. You can see actually some of the rye here from that spraying, which was the failure because it rained. We're going to put buckwheat in here in 2 weeks, and then we're going to let it grow until the beginning of August, first week of August. And then we're going to come in, we're going to seed our brassica in it, and then we're going to crimp it over with our cultipacker, and then I'm going to spray it all in the same day. And what that's going to do is the moisture from the buckwheat's going to help germinate the brassicas right away. The spray is going to kill the brassica, so you get a really good mulch over the top of the seed to help protect it from the sun if we don't get any rain for, you know, a week or two. So that actually helps protect the brassica. And 9 times out of 10 you get a really good crop. If for some reason there was a failure, we would come in here with winter rye, go 50 pounds per acre, and fill this with winter rye. Same with any of our other brassica plots, so we'll be doing the same thing. I do have 1 or 2 plots I'm going to put winter wheat and winter rye in, just for alternating the crop, because last year it was brassica, so we'll be doing that also. But like I said, there'll be corn on both sides, so the corn here will protect the deer from being seen from the road, which is 350 yards away, late season or later in the season as the leaves start to go down. And then it lets them feel comfortable. We sneak in this deep ravine behind here, pop right up into that tree stand from down below. When we get back down, we go right back out. I am going to run a few rows around the outside edge here to help cover any of our protect us from any deer that might be up here in the goldenrod or any of the switchgrass and stuff that's up above us. That'll help cover our movement dropping down out of that stand. The stand's pretty decent, it being in that pine tree. So, but anyhow, that's what I'm going to do. Create that V, kind of a shooting gallery is what we're going to call that stand. And it's probably not going to get hunted that much, to be honest with you. There's more productive spots, but this would be a decent spot for a gun sit also. If we decide to gun hunt in here, I'll be able to actually cover all the way up to probably all three of these plots and maybe the one here to the east a little bit also. So it'll be a pretty good movement, especially with a rifle if they come down off the tree line. So anyway, we're gonna get her going here. All right, everybody. So this is the last plot we've got to plant corn, unless I put some in the bottom, which I probably will. But this is a big plot. It's 2 acres. So a little while, just a little quiet there. But right here off to my south, I've just finished the shooting gallery. Basically, we created a V with the point of the triangle being the ladder stand here in the pine tree. Basically set up for evening hunts. You'll never get in there with a morning hunt. It might not be too bad during the rut if you get some midday movement through here. Usually we film some pretty good bucks coming through here between 9:30 and 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Hopefully with all the corn going in, that'll actually help create more movement down here a little bit lower. So we're going to put this corn in. Everything to the right of the yellow flags here is corn until you get down to the bottom here. And I've actually got a little brassica plot we'll be putting in there. I'll show you guys with the aerial. You also see it with some drone work that we're going to do. And then right here between the pink and the yellow flag straight here, this is all going to be switchgrass. I planted switchgrass in there, so hopefully some of that young switch is coming up. I'll mow that off here in July, and should allow that switch to, substantially gain on all the weeds. It'll actually choke out the weeds below. It'll grow that fast. So that's the plan there. I'm gonna get started on this. It's gonna take quite a while, I think, and we will go from there. We'll move down to the bottom plot. I've used basically a bag of beans, which isn't much. So I guess if you really think about it, we haven't planted too much size-wise, maybe 1.5 acres of food, maybe not even, maybe it's just 1 acre. We'll see how that goes. Got another bag with me, another bag in the truck just in case we need more. So let's get started. We got her done. It took a while. I think it's I've been planting corn now with this thing. Oh, it's probably 5 o'clock, so 6 hours. I did stop and talk to Brian for a short period of time, but one little spot I got to finish here quick, and then we're going down below. I was thinking, looking like the switchgrass that I put in early is not doing well. Like it's dead, not even there. So a couple of these spots here I'm going to leave and we'll mow those. Hopefully that grass will come up in there. The other spots I might just seed over with something else. So we're going to see how that goes. But not real happy about how that worked out so far. Keep an eye on it here for the next couple weeks. But like I said, we got I'm going to put some corn down in the bottom there by Mom's plot. Use that as a shroud this year. Then we'll try switchgrass again down there. It looks like it's all dead in there, so I'm going to overseed with corn. We'll get corn to grow in there. So, it's been a good day. More stuff to do, stands to move and things coming up here in the next couple weeks. So once we get their stands all dialed in, then it's leave it alone and let it grow. Here in 2 weeks we got to do our buckwheat, put the buckwheat in, but that goes in pretty easily. And then the Roundup over the top of that. The green stuff, so the rye and stuff that we have. This one died pretty good, but the rye that was in this plot here behind the camera is still up in there pretty decent, so we're going to kill that off too. Other than that, been a successful day. Thanks for watching The Obsession. Alright, well, we didn't show you guys that, but I seeded my mom's, the front edge where that switchgrass is supposed to be. It's not coming up at all, so I put corn in it. And that'll cover our entry here. It is food, but you know, it's about 90 yards away from where we are right now. And it'll help anything that might be in that bottom clover plot. So help them feel a little more secluded too. Find of the day. Spike tank. I can't even believe I found a shed that small. That's the smallest shed I've ever found. But that's cool. Spike tank. So brute force did good. I'm thirsty as heck. Got some water here. I'm gonna get something to drink. Planter worked pretty good once I figured it out. Took me a little bit to figure it out. First plot, we'll keep an eye on that. See if I have to add anything. I think it went pretty well. Once I got it set, we should be good to go there. So excited for this year. Only a few more months and bow season starts. So a lot of work to do. Stick around for The Obsession. Thanks for watching.